morning. Good afternoon, Miss Logan.
Hello, George. Hello, Emily. What do you have? Emily, what have you been crying about?
Oh, she got an awful scare, Mr. Morgan. That hardware store wagon almost ran over. Everybody says Tom Huggins drives like a crazy man.
Yeah, you have a good drink of water, Emily. You look all shook up. Well, you gotta look both ways before you cross Main Street these days. It gets worse every year. Now, what do you have?
Oh, the strawberry phosphate.
No, Emily, have a soda with me. 2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Mr. Morgan.
2 strawberry ice cream sodas. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to tell you, there are 225 horses in Grover's Corners the minute I'm talking to you. State inspector was in here yesterday. And now they're bringing in all these automobiles. Best thing to do is just stay at home. I remember a time when dogs used to be able to sleep right in the middle of the street all day. Nothing ever come along to stop them. There you go. Yes, Mrs. Ellis, I'll be right with you. What can I do for you?
Oh, they're so expensive.
No, don't you think of that, Emily. We're celebrating our election. And do you know what else I'm celebrating?
No.
I'm celebrating because I have a friend who tells me all the things that ought to be told.
Oh, George, please don't think of that. I don't know what made me say.
No, Emily, you stick to it. I'm glad you spoke to me like you did. But you'll see, I'm gonna change so fast. You bet I'm gonna change. And Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
Emily, if I go away to State Agricultural College next year, would you write me a letter once in a while?
I certainly will. I certainly will, George. Certainly seems that after being away for 3 years, you get out of touch with things. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners wouldn't be so interesting after a while. I mean, Grover's Corners isn't a very important place when you think of all of New Hampshire. But I think it's a very nice town.
Well, the day wouldn't come when I wouldn't want to know everything about our town. You know that's true.
Well, I'll try to make my letters interesting.
You know, Emily, whenever I meet a farmer, I ask him if he thinks it's important to go to agriculture college to be a good farmer.
Why, George?
And some of them even say it's a waste of time. You can get all that stuff anyway in the pamphlets the government sends out. And Uncle Luke's getting old. He's about ready for me to start taking over his farm tomorrow if I could.
Why?
And like you say, being gone all that time in other places, meeting other people, well, if anything like that can happen, I don't want to go away. I guess new people probably aren't any better than old ones. But they almost never are. Emily, you're as good a friend as I've got. I don't need to go to the other towns to meet other people.
Oh, but George, maybe it's very important for you to go and learn all about cattle judging and soils and those things. Of course, I don't know.
Emily, I'm going to make up my mind right now. I won't go. I'll tell Pa about it tonight.
George, I don't see why I have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me about that fault in my character. What you said was right. But there was one thing wrong in it. That's where you said I wasn't noticing people. You, for instance. Why, you say you were watching me and everything I did? Well, I was doing the same about you all the time. Why, sure. I always thought about you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always made sure where you were in the bleachers and who you were with. And for 3 days now, I've tried to walk home with you. Something's always gotten in the way. Yesterday, I was over by the wall waiting for you. You walked home with Miss Corcoran.
Why, George, that's awful funny. How could I have known that? Why?
Listen, Emily, I'm going to tell you right now why I'm not going away to agricultural college. I think once you've met a person you're very fond of, I mean, I mean, a person who's fond of you too, and who likes you enough to be, well, interested in your character. Well, that's just as important as college is, and even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important too.
Emily?
Yes, George?
Emily? If I do improve and make a big change, would you be, I mean, could you be?
I am now. I always have been.
So I guess this is an important talk we've been having.
Yes. Yes.
Wait just a minute and I'll walk you home. Mr. Morgan, I'll have to go home first to get the money to pay for these.
What's that, George? You mean to tell me?
Yeah, but I had good reason, Mr. Morgan. Look, here's my gold watch to keep until I come back with the money.
Don't keep your watch, George. I'll trust you.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
I'll trust you for 10 years, George. Not a minute longer. Got all over your shop, Emily?
Oh, why, yes, thank you, Mr. Morgan. It was nothing.
I'm ready.
Well. That was on the way. There's a lot of things that can be said about a wedding. A lot of thoughts that go on during a wedding. Naturally, you can't get them all into one wedding, certainly not into a wedding Grover's Corners, where weddings tend to be mighty short and plain. Now, in this play, I take the part of the minister. That gives me the right to say a few things more. And for a while now, the play is pretty serious. You see, some churches say that marriage is a sacrament. I don't quite know what that means, but I can guess it's like what Mrs. Gibbs said a few minutes ago. People are supposed to live 2 by 2. Well, this is a good wedding. The people are pretty young, but they come from a good state, and they chose right. Now, the real hero of the scene isn't I'm going to be on the stage at all, and I think you all know who that is. That's like one of these European fellows once said, every time a child is born into the world, it's nature's attempt to make a perfect human being. Well, we've seen nature pushing and contriving for some time now. We all know she's interested in quantity, but I think she's interested in quality, too. Maybe she wants to make another good governor from New Hampshire. That's what Emily hopes. And don't forget the other witnesses at this wedding, the ancestors, millions of them. Most of them set out to live 2 by 2. Millions of them. Well, that's all my sermon. It wasn't very long anyway.
There was Emily eating her breakfast as she's done for the past 17 years. And she's going out of my house. Oh, I guess that's it. And Emily, she suddenly said, I can't eat another mouthful. She laid her head on the table and she cried. Oh, I've got to say it, you know, there's something cruel about sending girls out into marriages like this. It's cruel. I know. But you know, I just couldn't get myself to say anything. I went into it blind as a bat myself. wrong. That's what's the matter. There they come.
Hey, George! No! Look at me scared to death.
Oh, George.
George!
You don't have to look so into go geezer. We know you're thinking.
Yeah, go to it, big boy, old geezer.
All right, that's enough of that. That'll do. There used to be an awful lot of that sort of thing, weddings in the old days, Rome and later. We're more civilized now, so they say.
George, what's the matter?
Ma, I don't want to grow old. Why is everybody pushing me
I
so?
thought you wanted it.
No, Ma, listen to me.
No, now, George, you're a man now.
No, Ma, listen to me. For the last time, all I want to do is be a fella.
Now,
and just-
George, anyone should hear you. Now, stop it. I'm ashamed of you.
Where's Emily?
George, you gave me such a turn.
Cheer up, Ma, I'm getting married.
George, just let me get myself together.
Now, Ma, you say Thursday nights. Emily and I are just having dinner every Thursday night. Ma, you look all funny. What are you crying for? Come on, we gotta get ready for this.
I've never felt so alone in my whole life. Oh, George over there, I hate him. I wish I were dead. Oh, Papa.
Emily, don't get upset.
Oh, but Papa, darling, I don't want to get married.
Everything's all right.
Why can't I stay for a while, just as I am? Let's go away.
No. Now stop and think a minute.
Don't you remember what you used to say all the time, that I was your girl? There must be lots of places we could go. I'd work for you. I'd keep house.
You mustn't say such things. You're just nervous. Now. George, will you come here a minute? Why, you're marrying the best young fellow in the world. George is a fine young fellow. I'm giving away my daughter, George. Do you think you can take care of her?
Mr. Webb, I want to. I want to try. Emily, I'll do my best. I love you, Emily. I need you.
And if you love me, help me. All I want is someone to love me.
Emily, I will. I'll try.
And I mean forever. Do you hear? Forever and ever.
Come on, they're waiting for us. Now you know everything will be all right.
Do you, George, take this woman, Emily, to be your love?
Perfectly lovely wedding. Loveliest wedding I ever saw. Oh, I do love a good wedding, don't you? Doesn't she make a lovely bride?
I do.
And do you, Emily, take this man, George?
Don't know when I've been to such a lovely wedding. But I always cry. Don't know why it is, but I always cry. I just like to see young people happy.
I do.
Don't you? Oh, I think it's lovely.
The ring. I've married over 200 couples in my time. Do I believe in it? I don't know. Suppose I do. Aunt Mary's Aunt, millions of them. Cottage, the go-kart, Sunday afternoon drives in the Ford, the first rheumatism, the grandchildren, the second rheumatism, the deathbed, the reading of the will. Once in 1,000 times, it's interesting.
Aren't they a lovely couple? Oh, I've never been to such a nice wedding. I'm sure they'll be happy. I always say, happiness, that's the the important thing is to be happy.
Well, that's the end of this scene, folks. We're going to take a few seconds to change the scenery, and then we'll get on with the play. This time, 9 years have gone by, friends. Summer, 1913. Gradual changes in Grover's Corners. Horses are getting rarer. Farmers are coming into town now in Fords. Almost everybody locks their house doors at night now. There ain't been any burglars in town, but everybody's heard about them. You'd be surprised, though, on the whole, things don't change much around here. This is certainly an important part of Grover's Corners. It's on a hilltop, a windy hilltop. Lots of sky and lots of clouds. Often lots of sun and moon and stars. You come up here on a fine afternoon and you can see range upon range of hills. Awful blue they are. Up there by Lake Centipede, Lake Winnipesaukee. And if you go all the way up, you can see the White Mountains and Mount Washington, where Jaffrey, North Jaffrey is. Of course, right over here is our favorite mountain, Mount Monadnock. And all around Atlanta's towns, there's Jaffrey and North Jaffrey and Peterborough and Dublin. There, quite a ways down, is Grover's Corners. Yeah, beautiful spot up here. Mountain of laurel and lilacs. I often wonder why people want to get buried in Woodlawn or Brooklyn when they might pass the same amount of time up here in New Hampshire. Right over here, the old stones, 1670, 1680. Strong-minded people come a long ways to be independent. Some are people like to walk around there and laugh at all the funny words on the tombstones. Don't do any harm. Oh, genealogists from Boston come up. Get paid by city folks for looking up their ancestors. Want to make sure they're daughters of the American Revolution or the Mayflower. Well, I guess that don't do any harm either. Over here are some Civil War veterans. Iron flags on their graves. New Hampshire boys had a notion to keep the Union together, even though they hadn't seen more than 50 miles of it themselves. All they knew was the names, friends, the United States of America. United States of America. And they went and died about it. Now, this here's the new part of the cemetery. There's your friend Mrs. Gibbs, Mr. Stinson, the organist at the Congregational Church. Oh, and Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding so much, remember? Oh, and a lot of others. There's Editor Webb's boy, Wallace, whose appendix burst when he was on a Boy Scout trip to Crawford Notch. There's an awful lot of sorrow was sort of quieted down up here. People just wild with grief have brought their relatives up to this hill. And then time, sunny days, rainy days, snow. You all know how it is. A lot of thoughts come up to this hill day and night, but there's no post office. You know, there's some things we all know, but we don't take them out and look at them very often. We all know that something is eternal. And it ain't names, and it ain't houses, and it ain't earth, and It ain't even the stars. But everybody knows in their bones that something is eternal. And that something has to do with human beings. All the greatest people ever lived have been telling us that for the last 5,000 years. And you'd be surprised that people always letting go of that fact. There's something way down deep that's eternal about every human being. But the dead don't stay interested in us living people very long. Gradually they let go of the earth and the ambitions they had, and the pleasures they had, and the things they suffered, and the people they loved. They get weaned away from the earth. That's the way I put it. Weaned away. The earth part of them kind of burns away, burns out. And they slowly get indifferent to what's going on down there in Grover's Corners. They're waiting. They're waiting for something they feel is coming. Something important and great. Aren't they waiting for the eternal part in them to come out clear? Well, some of the things you're going to hear them say maybe will hurt your feelings, but that's the way it is. Mother and daughter, husband and wife, enemy and enemy, money and miser. All those terribly important things kind of go pale around here. And what's left? What's left when memory's gone and your identity, Mrs. Smith? Well, here comes some living people. There's Joe Stoddard, our undertaker, coming to supervise a new-made grave. There's Sam Craig, a Grover's Corners boy who left town and went out west.
Good afternoon, Joe Stoddard.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let me see now. Do I know you?
I'm Sam Craig.
Gracious sakes alive, of all people. I should have known you'd be back for the funeral. You've been away a long time, Sam.
Yes, I've been away over 12 years. I'm in business now, out in Buffalo. But I was in the East when I had news of my cousin's death, so I thought I'd combine things a little and come back and see the old home. You look well, Joe.
Yes, can't complain. Very sad, our journey today, Samuel.
Yes.
Yes, I always say I hate to supervise when a young person is taken. They'll be here any minute now. I had to come early today myself. My son's supervising at the home.
Old Foreman McCarthy. I used to do chores for him after school. He had lumbago.
Yes, we brought Farmer McCarthy here several years ago.
Why, this is my Aunt Julia. I'd forgotten that she had... Of course.
Yes, Doc Gibbs lost his wife 2-3 years ago, about this time. And today's another bad blow for him, too.
That's my sister Carrie's boy, Sam. Sam Craig.
I'm always uncomfortable when they're around.
Now, Simon.
Do they choose their own verses much, Joe?
No, not usual. Mostly the bereaved pick a verse.
Doesn't sound like Aunt Julia. Well, there aren't many of those Hersey sisters left now, I suppose. Let me see. I wanted to look at my father's and mother's.
Over with Craig's, Avenue F there.
He was organist at church, wasn't he? Drank a lot, we used to say.
Nobody was supposed to know about it. He'd seen a peck of trouble. Took his own life, you know?
Oh, did he?
Yeah, hung himself in the attic. They tried to hush it up, but of course it got around. Selected his own epitaph there. You can read it right there. Ain't a verse, exactly.
Why, it's just some notes of music. What is it?
Oh, I wouldn't know. It was wrote up in the Boston papers at the time.
Joe, what did she die of?
Who?
My cousin.
Oh, didn't you know? Had some trouble bringing a baby into the world. It was her second, though. This little boy about 4 years old.
And the grave's going to be over here.
Yeah, there ain't much more room that the Gibbs is over here, so they're opening up a whole new Gibbs section over here by Avenue B. You'll excuse me now, I see they're coming.
Who is it, Julia? It's my daughter-in-law, Emily Webb.
Well, I declare. The road must have been awfully muddy coming up here. What did she die of, Julia?
In childbirth.
Childbirth. I'd forgotten all about that. My, wasn't life awful? And wonderful.
Wonderful, was it?
Simon, remember.
I remember Emily's wedding. Wasn't it a lovely wedding? And I remember Emily reading the class poem at graduation exercises. Emily was one of the brightest girls ever graduated from high school. I've heard Principal Wilkins say so time after time. I called on them at their new farm just before I died. Perfectly beautiful farm.
It's on the same road we used to live on.
Hey, right, smart farm. I always liked that hymn. I was hoping they'd sing it again.
Hello, Emily.
Hello, Miss Gibbs.
Hello, Mother Gibbs.
Emily?
Hello. Oh, it's raining.
Yes. Just rest yourself.
Oh, it seems thousands and thousands of years since Papa remembered that was my favorite hymn. I wish I'd been here a long time. I don't like being new here. Oh, how do you do, Mr. Simpson?
How do you do, Emily?
Mother Gibbs, George and I have made that farm. It's just the best place you ever saw. We thought about you all the time. Wanted to show you the new barn and a great long cement drinking fountain for the stock. We bought that out of the money you left us.
I did.
Don't you remember, Mother Gibbs? The legacy you left us. Why, it was over $350.
Yes, Emily.
Well, there's a patent device on this drinking fountain, Mother Gibbs, so that it never overflows and it never goes below a certain mark they have there. It would be the same to George without me. It's a lovely farm. They don't understand, do they?
No, dear, not very much.
They're sort of shut up in little boxes. Goodness, though I knew them last 1,000 years ago. My little boy is spending the day at Mr. Carter's. Oh, Mrs. Carter, my little boy is spending the day at your house. Yes, he loves it there. We have a Ford too, Mother Gibbs. Never gives any trouble. I don't drive though. Mother Gibbs, when does this feeling go away? Being one of them? How long does it?
Just wait and be patient.
No. Look. You're finished. You're going. Oh, look. Father Gibbs is bringing some of my flowers to you. Oh, he looks just like George, doesn't he? I never realized before how troubled and how in the dark like persons are. Oh, look at him. I loved him so. From morning till night, that's all they are. Troubled.
A little cooler than it was.
Oh yeah, that rain's cooled it off some.
Northeast winds always do the same thing, don't they? They take the rain, it's a 3-day blow.
Oh, but Mother Gibbs, one can go back. We can go back again into the living. I know it, I feel it. But just then, for a moment, I was thinking about the farm. For a moment, I was there. My baby was on my lap, as plain as day.
Yes, of course you can.
I can go back and live all those days over again. Why not?
All I can say is, Emily, don't.
Oh, but it's true, isn't it? I can go back there and live again.
Yes, some have tried, but they soon come back again.
Don't do it, Emily.
Emily, don't. It's not what you think it would be.
Oh, but I won't choose a sad day. I'll choose a happy one. I'll choose the day I first knew that I loved you. Why should that be painful?
You not only live it, but you watch yourself living it.
Yes?
And as you watch it, you see what they down there never know. You see the future. You know what's going to happen afterwards.
But is that painful? Why?
That's not the only reason you shouldn't do it, Emily. When you've been here longer, you'll see that our life here is to forget all that, to think only of what's ahead and be ready for what's ahead. When you've been here longer, you'll understand.
Oh, but Mother Gibbs, how can I ever forget that life? It's all I know. It's all I had.
It isn't wise, Emily. Really isn't.
Oh, but it's the thing I must know for myself. I'll choose a happy day anyway.
No, at least choose an unimportant day. Choose the least important day in your life. It'll be important enough.
But it can't be since I was married, or since the baby was born. I can choose a birthday at least, can't I? I choose my 12th birthday.
All right, it's February 11, 1899, a Tuesday. Would you like any special time of day?
Oh, I want the whole day.
All All right, we'll begin at dawn. You remember, it'd been snowing for some days, and it stopped the night before, and they've just begun clearing the streets. The sun is just beginning to come up.
Oh, there's Main Street. Oh, and there's Mr. Morgan's drugstore before he changed it. Oh, and there's the livery station.
Yes, it's 1899. It's 14 years ago.
Oh, this is the town I knew as a little girl. Oh, and look. There's the old white fence that used to be around our house. I'd forgotten that. I love it so. Are they inside?
Yes? Your mother will be coming down any minute now to make breakfast.
Will she?
And you remember your father'd been away for a couple of days, but he'd come back on the early morning train.
Oh.
He'd been back to his college to make a speech in western New York, at Clinton.
There's Howard Newsom. And there's our policeman. Oh, but he's dead. He died.
Whoa, Bessie. Hello, Bill.
Morning, Howie.
You're up early.
Been rescuing a party. Darn near froze to death out by Polish town dog. Got drunk and lay off the snowdrifts. I was in bed when I shook him.
And there's Joe Crowell.
Morning, Joe.
Children, Wally, Emily, time to get out.
Oh, Mom, I'm here. Oh, young Mama looks. I didn't know Mama was ever that young.
You can come dressed for the fire if you like. Hurry. Good morning, Mr. Newsom.
Morning, Miss Webb.
Oh, it's cold.
Yep, 10 below by my barn.
Think of it. Keep yourself bundled up.
Come on, Bessie. Get up.
Mama, I can't find my blue hair ribbon anywhere. Just open your eyes, dude, that's all. I laid it out special for you there on the dresser. If it were a snake, it would bite you.
Oh, yes, yes.
Morning, Bill.
Morning, Mr. Webb. You're up early.
Yes, been back to my old college in New York State. Been any trouble here?
I was called up this morning to rescue a Polish fellow. Darn near froze to death he was.
Yeah, well, we must get it in the paper.
Twat much.
Good morning, Mother.
How'd it go, Charles?
Oh, fine, I guess. I told them a few things. Everything all right here?
Yes, nothing special, sound good. Been right cold. Howard Newsom says it's 10 below over in his barn.
Yes, well, it's a lot colder than that over at Hamilton College. Students' ears are falling off. It ain't Christian. They never had any mistakes in it?
Well, then I noticed. Coffee's ready when you like. Charles, it's Emily's birthday. Did you remember to get her anything?
Yes, I've got something right here. Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
Don't interrupt her now, Charles. You can see her at breakfast. She's slow enough as it is. Children, hurry up. It's 7 o'clock now. I don't want to call you again.
Oh, I can't bear it. You're so young and beautiful. Oh, Mom, I'm here. I love you all, everything. Oh, I can't look at everything hard enough. Can I go in?
Yes?
Well, now, dear, a very happy birthday to my girl and many happy returns. There are some birthday surprises for you there on the table.
Oh, Mommy, you shouldn't have. I can't.
Birthday or no birthday, I want you to eat your breakfast good and slow. I want you to grow up to be a good, strong girl. That and the blue papers from your Aunt Carrie. And I reckon you can guess who brought over that album right there. Found on the doorstep when I brought in the milk. George Gibbs must have come over in the cold pretty early.
Oh,
Try to mention him.
I'd forgotten that.
Eat your bacon good and slow. It'll help keep you warm on a cold day.
Oh, Mama. Just look at me 1 minute as though you really saw me. Mama, 14 years have gone by. I'm dead. You're a grandma, Mama. I married George Gibbs. Wally's dead too. His appendix burst on a camping trip to Crawford Knott. We felt just terrible about it. Don't you remember? Oh, but just for a moment now, we're all together. Oh, just for a moment now, let's be happy. Let's look at one another.
About in the yellow paper, something I found in the attic among your grandmother's things. You're old enough to wear it now, and I thought you'd like it.
And this is from you. My Mama, it's just lovely. It's what I've always wanted. It's beautiful.
Hope you'd like it. Hunted all over. Your Aunt Nora couldn't find one in Congress, so I had to send all the way to Boston. Wally has one for you, too. Now, he made it at an end training camp in He's very proud of it. I want you to let him know that you think it's very special. Your father has prizes for you, too. I don't know what they are myself.
Where's
Here he
my
comes.
girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I can't go on. Go so fast. Don't have time to look at one another. I never realized. So all that was going on. And we never noticed. Take me back. Up the hill to my grave. Oh, wait. One more look. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Grover's Corners. Mama and Papa. The clock's ticking. Oh, my butternut tree. All the sunflowers. Food. Coffee. New wine dresses. Hot baths. And sleeping and waking up. Oh, wow! You're too wonderful for anyone to realize you. Do any human beings ever realize life when they live it? Every minute.
No, saints and poets, maybe they do some.
I'm ready to go back.
Were you happy?
No. I should have listened to you. It's all human beings are. Just blind people.
Look, it's clearing up. The stars are coming out.
Oh, Mr. Stimson. I should have listened to them.
Yes, now you know. Now you know that's what it was to be alive. Move about in a cloud of ignorance. Go up and down trampling on the feelings of those about you. Spend and waste time as though you had 1,000,000 years. Be always at the mercy of one self-centered passion or another. Because now you know that's the happy existence you wanted to go back to. Ignorance and blindness.
That's not the whole truth, and you know it, Simon Stimson. Look at that star, Emily. I forget its name.
My boy Joel was a sailor. He knew them all. He'd sit on the porch evenings and tell them all by name. Yes, sir. Wonderful.
A star's mighty good company.
Yes, yes it is.
There's one of them coming.
That's funny. Take no time for him to be here.
Goodness sake.
Mother Gibbs. It's George.
Just rest yourself.
It's George.
And my boy Joel, that knew the stars, he used to say that it took millions of years for that little speck of light to get down to Earth. Don't know how a buddy could believe it, but that's what he used to say. Millions of years.
Goodness, that ain't no way to behave.
He ought to be home.
Mother Gibbs.
Yes, Emily.
They don't understand, do they?
No, dear, they don't understand.
Most everybody's asleep in Grover's Corners. Only a few lights are on. Shorty Hawkins down by the depots just watched the Albany train go by. Down at the livery stable where somebody's sitting up late and talking. Yeah, looks like it's gonna clear up. Yeah, the stars doing their old crisscross in the skies. You know, scholars haven't settled the matter yet, but they seem to think that there are no living beings up there. Just chalk or fire. Only this one is straining away all the time to make something of itself. Strain gets so great that every 16 hours, everyone's got to lie down and get some rest. That's 11 o'clock in Grover's Corners. Everyone's rested in Grover's Corners. Tomorrow's going to be another day. You get a good rest, too. Good night.